This cable is worked over 10 stitches, and in this sample here I've also added 2 extra stitches on each side for a reverse stockinette background, and then I also have 2 more stitches on each side for a garter stitch border, just to help my sample lay flat. Depending on what you're knitting, you may not need to add a border, but it's just to help keep it from curling, because I do have the reverse stockinette background on each side of my cable. I only use 2 stitches here on each side. You could add more or less depending on what you're going to be using this cable panel for. And you don't even have to do reverse stockinette. You could do plain stockinette or maybe seed stitch, whatever you want. But the reverse stockinette background really helps the cable pop out and stand out off of the fabric. So this is just a 4-row repeat. The second and fourth rows you're just going to be purling your cable stitches, so it's a pretty easy thing. And the cable stitches themselves are just worked over 4 stitches, so I'm not going to use a cable needle. You can if you like. I just didn't want to fuss with only a few stitches and mess with a cable needle, but do whatever is comfortable for you. So I'm going to just work my edge stitches here. It's just a garter stitch border, like I said, and then my reverse stockinette stitches. If you do a reverse stockinette background, you would be purling these on the right side of the fabric. And now I am ready to start my cable. So for row 1, working on the cable stitches, you're going to knit the first 2, and now you're going to, if you're working with or without a cable needle, whichever way you're doing it, 2 stitches come off the left needle, and then I'm going to grab the next 2 off of here, and I'm just going to hold them on my right needle until I get these stitches that I slipped off first back onto my needle. So they need to be coming across the front here if you're cabling without a cable needle. If you are using a cable needle, then these stitches should be held in the front of your work. Then I'm going to put these 2 back on. So you're cabling 4 front, or C4F is the abbreviation for this. And then knit the stitches. And then knit the next 2. And I'm going to be cabling again, working with the next 4 stitches. So the first 2, if you're using a cable needle, slide them onto your cable needle and hold them in front of your work. I'm just going to slide them off my needle here. And then if you're using a cable needle, you would knit these next 2 stitches. Without a cable needle, I'm just going to slip them off and hold them onto my right needle. Grab my stitches that are hanging out in front, put them on the left needle, and then put these 2 back on. And then I'm just going to knit those 4 stitches. And that is it for the cable stitches. So I'm just going to work my reverse stockinette background here. So I'm going to purl those 2. And then my 2 border stitches I'm just going to knit. So that is the first row of the cable pattern. You knit the first 2 stitches, and then you work a cable 4 front, or C4F, twice. And then you get that left slanting cable here. The second row, just purling all of the cable stitches, but I have my extra stitches here that I added, so I'm going to knit all of those. When you're doing a reverse stockinette background on the wrong side of the fabric, you're going to knit those stitches. Now I'm at my cable here, so I'm going to be purling the 10 stitches of the cable. And now I'm at my reverse stockinette background, so I'm going to knit those stitches here and knit my edge here. Now for row 3, we're going to be cabling again. Let me just get up to that point, knit my 2 edge stitches. And for the reverse stockinette, on the right side of the fabric, you're purling. Okay, now I'm at my cable here. Oh, my yarn is running away. So in this row, the third row, we're going to be cabling 4 back, or C4B. So if you're using a cable needle, you would slip these next 2 stitches onto your cable needle, and you want to make sure that you're holding them in the back of your work. Without a cable needle, I'm just going to let them go. I'm going to grab the next 2 stitches and hold them on my right needle here. I'm going to come back here and grab those 2. So it's a little bit harder to grab the ones from the back. There are my 2 stitches. And now I'm going to put these back on my left needle. And I'll just be knitting those 4 stitches. Oops. This is roving yarn, and it's a little splitty there. Okay. So when you hold stitches to the back of your work, you get a cable that goes to the right. Okay, then I'm going to make another cable. First 2 stitches. If you're using a cable needle, you would put them on and hold them in back of your work. Without a cable needle, I'm just going to slide the next 2 stitches off, grab 2 stitches from behind, and then put these back on my left needle so that I can knit them. And I really wouldn't do, without a cable needle, probably more than 4 stitches. I think beyond 4 stitches you probably want to use a cable needle for sure. So knitting my 4 stitches here, and then you'll end row 3 of the cable by just knitting the last 2 stitches. And then here's my reverse stockinette background. I'm purling those 2 stitches and then my 2 border stitches there. Okay, so you can see down here, when we held the 2 stitches in front, we get a left slanting cable, and then when you hold them in the back, you get a right slanting cable. Okay, so row 4 of the pattern, again, it's just you're purling all of the stitches of your cable. I'm going to work my border and my reverse stockinette background here, and now I'm at the 10 stitches for my cable. Just purl. And once you've purled the 10 stitches of the cable, you work your background stitches and border stitches however you have them set up. And that's it for the cable, just those 4 rows, and you would repeat them until your cable is as long as you would like it to be.